Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Christian Navas, and I did my case study on Marcus J. Schrenker. So I'm gonna get started. So the background on this is that Schrenker was born on November 27th, 1970. Grew up in Maryville, Indiana, and attended Purdue University, where he met his wife. Before 2009, Schrenker lived with his wife and kids in the 1 million waterfront housing guys that is a wealthy suburb in Indianapolis. He's listed as the owner of three companies: Heritage Wealth Management, Icon Wealth Management, and Heritage Insurance Services. In December of 2008, a company that was attempting to recover $1.4 million for commission has paid to Schrenker for selling insurance and annuity policies, sued both Schrenker and HWM. In 2008, his wife filed for divorce because he had been having an affair with a woman at the airport. The Indiana Department of Insurance filed a motion to revoke the license of Schrenker and Heritage and fine them, citing a string of complaints from clients that he was forging signatures and withdrawing investment funds, which resulted in significant fines. 8 lawsuits have been filed against Schrenker in the 10 years leading up to the events of January 2009, including slander, interfering with a business relationship, and failing to pay a contractor who worked for one of his homes. So this is only the beginning of his life. This guy's only it's only up to 2009. He's already faced a lot of lawsuits. He's been sued for millions of dollars, and he even filed bankruptcy for one of his companies. To continue on with his background, after 2009, there was an arrest warrant put out for his arrest. He was facing 9 counts of security fraud. He was arrested, but he was just later released on bail. He was released on a $10,000 bail. He departed in his private jet amid a distress call to air traffic control that he had collapsed and was bleeding profoundly. Um, the air traffic control sent the U.S. Coast Guard with military jets, and they discovered the plane, but they were discovered that there was nobody inside, no signs of blood. What happened is that Schrenker had parachuted down to the woods, where he found some nearby campers. He had told them that he had been in a canoeing accident, and they helped him out get to the city, where he emailed a friend, that's friend being Tom Britt, one of his neighbors, and he eventually turned him in to the police. So this case was tried at both the state and the federal level, but for purposes of my research, I only cited the case part. So they put out the arrest warrant, the bond, and when he was captured, he took a plea deal. He was charged with 5 counts of security frauds. He only received a 10-year sentence, which he was only supposed to serve 5. He was supposed to be released on parole, but he was also tried at the federal level, where he was charged for deception of the Coast Guard, fraud, destruction of aircraft, and a bunch of other crimes. And in my research, I cited White Collar Criminals by Esther Stotland. So this journal did is that it explored the egocentric behavior and attitude commonly shared among white collar offenders. Their perception of themselves is fueled by their view of society. Offenders view their victims as morally culpable for their offenders' actions. Um, During his time in jail, he shared a cell with a guy named Cox, which he kind of just said that this guy was completely delusional. Uh, Cox explained in the interview that Schrenker was just he was just out of it. He believed that he was wrongfully imprisoned. He was incarcerated due to the media twisting stories. He blamed the victims for poor decision making. He even went as far as to say that his affair was a result for him taking a fall for his wife. He found a way to blame his wife, saying that she was under investigation and that he committed the affair to take the attention off his wife. And that extensive list of egocentrism followed him down since high school. In high school, he had contracted an STI, and he had passed it down to multiple women despite having medications for it. He also falsified education, saying he had a master's degree from Harvard, which no one could verify. He also said he had employment with NASA. Again, there was no one can prove it, and that he had some T-38 jets, which again nobody had proof of this. And another journal that I cited in my study was The White Collar Crime and Criminal Careers by Weisberg. This is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's to sum it up, it said a bunch of white collar offenders had an extensive list of other types of crimes, not just white collar crimes. 1/3 of white collar offenders that were drawn from the sample had previously been convicted of a felony. 2/3 had prior arrests, and these arrests were not white collar related. Also, white collar offenders usually hold titles such as lawyer, doctor, judge, account, clergy, business owner, inspector. A lot of these guys also do have high recidivism rates due to low sanctions. In the case of Schrenker, he in both federal and state charges, he actually served less than 10 years in jail, in prison. Sorry, he was released in 2019, I believe. Um, and the only other rep, sanction that he had was that he had to pay less than $1 million in reparations. So definitely the biggest takeaway from this case is that they could have tried this case differently. I mean, they gave a millionaire a $10,000 bond. His sanctions including reparations totaling less than $1 million, about 600,000, I believe is the actual number. And he served less than a 10-year sentence in both state and federal charges. So I think the government could have definitely given him more time for what he did. Uh, I think a 10 years is way too. Uh, it's a way too. It's not a harsh sentence for his type of crimes. Um, I also think reparations could have been like a lot higher. This guy's a multimillionaire, so it doesn't sit right with me. Another big takeaway is that a lot of the research pretty much supported this guy supported the research. I mean, as we saw the egocentric behavior, this guy was full of it. He fully believed in himself. He thought he was the center of everything. Again, he had an extensive criminal history. So not only was he tried, for white collar crimes, but this guy deceived the entire U.S. Coast Guard. He destroyed an aircraft, and it's just an extensive list. So white collar crimes wasn't the only thing in this guy's history. Um, so pretty much what the research is just supports what what this guy is, and I think in the future it could help the government take these cases a little more serious. And thank you guys. That's all the time I have.